another story adapted from my book that is called A Day at the Fair, F-A-R-E, One Woman's Welfare Passage. And it basically tells about how I went from living a very, very comfortable middle-class lifestyle into deep poverty through no fault of my own, and how I worked myself out of it through education. In Savannah, our holiday meals were as splendid as our Victorian home. We dined on baked fresh salmon, hand-picked crab patties, perfectly seasoned greens, flaky peach cobbler, and my personal favorite, homemade biscuits. The house smelled of newly cut pine and was holiday decked from its high crown molded ceilings down to its shiny hardwood floors and all points in between. Life was dreamy living with Watson, the most talented and sensitive man I ever loved. But he was the most attentive to our two boys. They were 1.5 and 9, and an excellent provider. He always made sure that everything in the house was just the way I wanted it, and he was proud to make it so. But what started out as the ideal domestic situation slowly began to change. Watson had served in Vietnam before we met, and he suffered with PTSD, or post-traumatic stress disorder. And he had the changeability of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. When during one of his unpredictable frenzies, he struck me in my face, I knew that for the sake of mine and my children's safety, I had to leave at any cost, emotional or financial. Leaving behind my cozy middle-class comfort, I fled to Jacksonville, a city I only visited twice for leisure. After wandering around 5 days homeless, the only place that I could find for me and the children to live was a unit in a dilapidated cement tenement with no refrigerator, no stove, no heat, and no air conditioning. It just was better than being on the streets. The paltry conditions made me feel worthless, insignificant, lower than shit on a shoe. I was alone with 2 children in a strange city and broken in every way imaginable. But whatever I did, I could not let my children see my breakage. For them, I would wear a brave mask, even though I was struggling to provide basic necessities and constantly worrying about where our next meal would come from. My boys had never gone to bed hungry, and I would have felt like some kind of unfit mother if ever they said to me, "Mommy, I'm hungry," and I had nothing to offer them. Yes, I'd run off to Jacksonville without a plan. The security of Savannah was behind me, and Christmas a week away. And now, on a good day, I cooked Vienna sausages and grits on a borrowed kerosene heater. One day, I run into a neighbor, and he makes me an offer. He says, I see you've been over there doing all that work by yourself, and I know you're just getting settled in. But if I could be of any assistance, just let me know. Perhaps I can help. I thought about it. A squarish sunbeam electric fry pan and a tiny toaster oven were all I had to prepare food with. What I really needed help with was a real kitchen to cook in. I told him about a gift certificate I'd gotten from the food bank for a turkey, and that we had plans to spend Christmas Day with friends. But if I could cook that turkey, me and my kids could eat off of it for days. He offered to let me use his kitchen because he was going to be out of town. I went to his apartment. He handed me the key, and he took me on a tour of his kitchen, which really wasn't in much better shape than mine. I noticed as we walked in how dusty the brown tile floor was. Grit was rolling under my feet. And then when he went to the kitchen sink to pull a drawer open to show me where the utensils were, roaches ran out of it in every direction. I didn't say anything, assuming that was the proper thing to do. That's how I spent my Christmas Eve. Christmas Day, the children and I had been invited from a social services worker to come to her home and join in a celebration with her and her family. We got there, and it was wonderful. Children were running around playing. There was laughter in the air, the aroma of all kinds of foods, and the smell of everything new, like you smell at Christmas time. And music was playing. And I did good. Until a song by Donny Hathaway, This Christmas, came on. It flashed me back. It made me think about how I used to have that security, that family, that food, that coziness, and now it was all gone. I was bumming out. And everyone there had been so nice to my children and I. I didn't want them to think that anyone had said or done anything to upset me. I figured it was time for me to leave. When I get back to my apartment, I have a little conversation with myself. I said, girl, after all that upset, you know you're not going to go to sleep. You have that turkey sitting in the sink. You might as well cook the turkey. So, to pick my spirits up, I did what I always do. I put on some music. I chose Prince's 1999. Because tonight we're gonna party like we're gonna cook a turkey. I'm doting over that bird, I'm basting it, I'm seasoning it, and fidgeting with it so much until I get it just in the center of the pan. Perfect. Then I take my key, head out the back kitchen door to go to my neighbor's. I'm standing in his door with this flimsy pan, putting in the key, fumbling in the lock. And finally, I open the door, I turn on the light, and wow, two big rats, two big gray ashy rats were standing on their hind legs on top of the stove, screeching at me. And jumped down and ran across the floor. And at that same moment, I dropped my turkey, it bounced out the pan, slid clear across the floor, and hit the wall. I am beside myself. I go out on the stoop, I'm crying. Damn, not this. After everything me and the kids have been through, not this too, God, no. I retreated back to my apartment, threw myself into the sofa, where I decided whether or not I was going back for that turkey. I thought about it. I'm not going to let them have it, am I? that, I ain't got no choice. I'm going back for that turkey. But this time, they will not be able to catch me off guard. Armed with a butcher knife, I charged back over to his house like some kind of superhero. And I opened that kitchen door so hard that it whacked the wall. And in an instant, I snatched up my turkey, threw it back in the pan, marched back to my apartment, washed it, seasoned it, basted it, took it back over there to cook. Hours later, I was carrying this delectable, golden, perfectly baked bird in an aluminum pan like it was on a silver platter. And I put it on my sink. And in hopes of blocking its irresistible scent from the possibility of any rats, I wrapped it in 10 layers of foil. And then climbed those cement stairs and put that turkey up on the top shelf of my closet where it could wait to be feasted on by me and my boys. After that ugly real-life welcoming committee, I came to realize quickly just how rough my life was going to be in my new poverty-ridden environment, and that I probably hadn't seen anything.